Hey guys, how you doing? It is Saturday. It's time for end of the week rambles. We missed last week because it was New Year's Day. It was just a really busy kind of day, New Year's Day. New Year's Eve was busy as well, which is when I might have normally recorded, but I was busy watching two teams get absolutely smoked in the NCAA Playoffs. And that's what I want to start with talking about. No, I've got my card to help me because I had to remember all of this, and I'm not always great at remembering some things. But let's talk about this for a second. Okay, so the NCAA, or ESPN ABC, decided the best time to do the playoffs was New Year's Eve. And then they come out and said, oh, hey, we got fewer viewerships on this. Well, why do you think that is? Because you chose a lousy time to have them. If you put them on New Year's Day, tons of people would have watched it. But instead, you put it on New Year's Eve where people's wives or people who don't care for NCAA football were like, I don't really have anybody that I'm interested in watching. You know, if you didn't have a vested interest, it was easier to walk away from. If you didn't like it to begin with, or even if you're a fan, somebody's like, hey, we got these great parties to go to, this to do, let's go do that. And you don't want to spend your time bringing in the new year watching football. Hopefully they've learned from their mistake and next year they move them back to New Year's Day. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just saying maybe. Although I think this year's New Year's Eve, I think it all happens on Saturday, Sunday, if I remember correctly, because it's a leap year. Yeah, so it's a leap year, so New Year's Eve is actually on a Saturday, so New Year's is on a Sunday. So then I think what happens is all of the football gets played on Monday because they don't want to move the NFL games. And so then the legal holiday, anyways, big mess there. They can dope it out next year. Although the other idea is back to New Year's Eve if they do it then. But anyways, let's talk about the mess that the NCAA playoffs were. Okay, so they continue to say that the championship is your goal. Like if you win your championship in the Big Ten, Pac-12, Big 12, you'll end up winning, getting this one of the four spots, or you have a better chance. But this year I think we saw something that I think we'll continue to see. And if we kind of try to keep track, but it's year to year, it's hard to keep track. So I don't remember how it played out last year. Last year I think it was pretty accurate, coincidental, but this year it was not even close. So Clemson crushed Oklahoma. Alabama ran all over Michigan State. Two teams that I think were definitely better than Oklahoma and Michigan State. One did, I think, should have knocked Oklahoma out. I was surprised they didn't, and that was Stanford. We watched them just run all over the Hawkeyes. They demolished them. And Ohio State ran all over Notre Dame. And that was without Joey Bosa for the majority of the game. Their defense just was impressive. So then you have to ask yourself, what if Ohio State and Stanford made it in? Or an even better question is, why don't we go to an 8-game system? I think this would be the best option out of all. So I jotted down the top 8 teams as they were on week 15 at the end of the season. Here's how an 8-game playoff would have looked like. You would have had Clemson against Notre Dame, which I think you would have had the same outcome as Clemson, Oklahoma. But then you would have Alabama, Ohio. Who would not have loved to have watched that rematch from last year? That would have been fun. Michigan State against Stanford. I'm pretty sure you're going to have the same result that you had with Michigan State playing Alabama, the way Stanford played against. But still. So then you would have had Oklahoma against Iowa. Okay, so you would have had 3 Big Ten teams in, an SEC, a Pac-12, an ACC, and Notre Dame's an independent. Now, some people would argue that Houston should have been 8 and should have been put in, but I'm going to say let's go with the top 8. You have to go with the top 8, and that's how it was at the end of the season. So and I just went down, Clemson playing Notre Dame, who was 8. So let's say Clemson beats Notre Dame, and then you would have had them playing probably Oklahoma or Iowa then for the second game. I mean, it would have whittled it down. You would have been 2 weeks, because that would have been 4 games. But anyways, it would have been much better. Who knows what the outcome would have been? I'm not going to try to guess, because I thought the Big Ten was going to do a lot better than they did, and they did horrible. The Big Ten on the lower side did good. Some of the teams I did not expect to win won, and the teams that I thought should win or at least compete didn't even show up. Outside of Ohio State, which was part of the top tier, Ohio State, who ran all over Notre Dame, but that was it. Michigan State shut out. The Hawkeyes almost shut out. I mean, they were horrible. So the question is it that the Big Ten is really just that far off? Did they have an off day? I don't have an answer, because last year the Big Ten looked awesome, winning, I think, all but one of their games. And I expected the same this year, but I think Alabama took a real strong lesson of getting beat by Ohio State last year, and that defense, and I think that defense by none may be the top defense in the country. Outside of Ohio State, which may be 1 or 2, but I don't know. They didn't play Alabama. We won't know. That's the problem. The 4-game playoff system, or the 14 playoff system, doesn't really work, because we saw 2 teams that deserved to be in the playoffs and 2 teams that didn't deserve. So do we just say we need to look at more of the work of body? But Ohio State did. We look at them and they say, well, but people thought Ohio State should crush everybody. And so they had one kind of flukish game against Michigan State where the defense played really good. The offense was kind of off kilter. I don't know if the rain affected it. I don't know where the missteps were, if it was really just a lot of coaching. My thought is probably a mix of coaching, rain, weather, and Michigan State coming in wanting that vengeance. And that has to be taken into account, but you'll never know. We'll never know, because those games were not played. Just like we don't know if Joey Bosa stayed in the Ohio State game instead of being ejected by what I consider one of the most ridiculous rules in NCAA football, which is targeting. Obviously, if he purposely was targeting, that's different. I think we need to define what is purposeful, because you can tell he wasn't he was trying not to injure the player. He wasn't purposely targeting him. He moved his head so he wouldn't do a helmet-to-helmet contact, which was a good move, and then ended up giving him a targeting. Ridiculous. Okay, enough about NCAA football. We'll have more on that. Maybe next week will be the last one. We'll see. But if it plays out, I'm not buying Clemson. I'm just not buying into Clemson, and I think Alabama is going to run all over Clemson, and it's not even going to be close. I don't even know that I'll watch much of the game. I have no vested interest in it. It's on a Monday night, and the thing about a Monday night is I got to get up on Tuesday morning, and I got to go to work. Why not have it on a Saturday? I don't understand. That makes no sense to me. No sense. Okay. Let's talk for a second. We're going to bring that back. I've got some changes in mind. I revamped it. We went on break for December because it's just a busy month. And then last week we were just kind of recovering from December. We sat down on the couch. Like, I don't know about the rest of you, but Sunday afternoon, got done with church. We made some lunch, which was a delicious lunch. I don't quite remember what it was, but I remember it was delicious. And we made it, we ate it, we sat on the couch, we said, okay, we're going to sit here for a couple minutes, maybe watch a TV show or two, and then we'll get the Christmas lights from outside down, and we'll work on a couple other things. And I'm going to tell you, we sat there, and before you know it was night, we watched about 2 or 3 movies that we had on the DVR. My voice just cracked. Hey, going through puberty again. But we just crashed, absolutely crashed. So, but it was kind of good, because then Monday, the other thing we've been doing this week, and I want to talk about this really quick, Oh no, I'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about Let's Talk real quick, and then I'll talk about that because that's towards the end. I got my paper to keep me on track. Still rambling, but rambling with more of an organization to it, if that makes sense. So, Let's Talk. I got a whole new type of format. We're moving the studio to where we were recording to in a different room. I'm hoping to bring a desk. I'm hoping to bring Nate into it a lot more, involved into it, and hoping to get him on camera where he was just talking and hoping that maybe at some point to see Let's Talk really kind of grow in the audience, and it not just be a Christian-based audience, but another audience that we can bring some common sense and just some good discussion about different things. Not always things going on, but be able to relate to a lot of different people. So Let's Talk. I hope to see it kind of grow and do some great things. Maybe you hear the dogs barking, they're going crazy. That will not be happening soon because we're moving the couch away from the window. So I'm going to try to talk over the dogs. Hey, good luck to me. All right, now last week was New Year's. We're going to talk about this on Let's Talk. Changing resolutions, goals. I don't generally always have resolutions, but I did kind of this year. I said, let's make some goals. And me and Autumn sat down and made some goals for the year. And one of those big goals was, let's start eating healthy. We realized that from November to December, we got in this bad habit of going to Wendy's or Taco Bell or pizza. There's a new pizza place in the mall. We went there a lot. Very good pizza. It's called Franco's. I guess they're a chain out in West Virginia, Pennsylvania area, I think is what the owner told me, the guy that works there. And now they've come to Lancaster, and they have very good pizza. They're in our mall, which is pathetic because they have no eatery whatsoever. But that being said, we decided that we're going to try to start to eat healthier. So I'm trying to grab a hold, take control of my mornings, take control of my evenings, and eat healthier. So we said we don't want to go on a diet. We want to make a life change in the fact that we don't want to have to be eating fast food and sugary processed food. And by sugary processed food, I mean Chips Ahoy cookies, candy bars, and all of that. We don't want to be eating that like every single day. But it's okay if if we're watching a movie and we pick up some Twizzlers or something like that. But we don't want this to be an everyday thing. And we were doing this like every day. We were eating. We stockpiled on. We went to Sam's Club and we bought a big box of the Snicker, Milky Way, and Twix bite size. You can go through a bag of that in no time and you don't feel guilty because you're eating little tiny Twix and you don't think about it. So we're like, no more of that, no more of that. And I'll tell you, after week 1, and we're trying to watch our portions as well, just so we don't eat too many carbs, we don't eat too many proteins, whatever. I don't know how all that works, but we're trying to eat healthy, balanced. And last night, like a lot of times, like I'm just tired at night, but I was not tired. So I think next week we're gonna kind of enter into phase 2, trying to get a hold of our mornings and be active and not be lazy. My other thing is I'm putting a wood shop in my basement. Because my basement's well ventilated, because this is an old house built in like the 1890, anyways, it was built in the late 1800s. So in the late 1800s, the basement was built, it was meant to be more of a cellar. Well, anyways, somebody came along, they did a nice job at making it a nicer basement than probably what it was originally. And this house is rock solid. It is not going anywhere. I'm telling you, it does not creak, it does not moan. But it's well ventilated, so I can put a wood shop down there and not worry about any, like if I'm cutting pre-treated wood, I don't have to worry about the toxins because there's enough fresh air coming through there. Problem is it's chilly down there, so I have to always put on a sweatshirt or a jacket when I go down there. But I'm getting the wood shop. I'm going to make my own patio furniture. We're going to. My wife said, why don't we make one piece first and see how that works out before we buy all the wood to make 5 or 6 of these chairs. The table is going to be easy to make, but I went and I bought like a Craig. I bought a tool kit that I needed so I could do the joints and get all of those set up correctly. That wasn't too much, and I just have to get one more piece of equipment and I'm set. But I'm really excited about this. Really excited to start just making my own furniture and learning how to do that. Something I've really kind of always wanted to do. But so small talk, I don't know if that will come back or not. I kind of thought about it, but there's this guy that does this 10-minute Bible hour, Matt, and he does an awesome job with it, and the format that I would use would be kind of his, and I don't want to copy him, even though they say copying is the greatest form of flattery, so he'd probably be flattered. But I've thought about it because I'm working my way through the Gospels. I think I've told you this before. I'm working my way through the Gospels, making notes, taking notes, and working on that. So a lot of things going on. I'm feeling better. It's good to see you guys. Hope you have a good New Year's. Hope you have a good week. Hey, if you like what we're doing, click the subscribe button. Click the share button, not the like button on Facebook, but the share button, and share with your friends so they can see it and subscribe to it. And hit the like button on YouTube. Put us out there. Let people know, because, you know, we do this for you. Hey, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I don't know why I did this right here. That was weird. All right, you guys have a good week. Bye.